Hello and welcome to week 32 of the FUT Weekly podcast. We have a content podcast for you, and we also have for you, as we pretty much always do, AirJapes. Welcome back.
Thank you much, Ben. Excited to be approaching team of the season, which is, I'm like, I'm not going to pack that many blues, but perhaps I'm going to learn a little bit more about grinding some SBCs and getting some more blues in the future.
Yeah, we have some guests who know all about that. First of all, we've got Josh, SpreadsheetFIFA. Welcome back again.
Yeah, nice to be here. Nice to be here. I'm on with the boss today, so I gotta watch what I say.
Yeah, indeed. And we have with us, as mentioned, Nepenthez. Welcome back to the pod.
How you doing, mate?
Very good, yeah.
Thanks for having me on again.
It's good to have you, especially as we're going to be doing a pound-for-pound powerhouse of the cycle so far, which is a good time with Team of the Season around the corner. And the fact that, I don't know, I feel like pound-for-pound this week is going to be pretty comfortably won by 𝘵𝗵𝗏, no?
Yeah.
Can I give an outside shout to the 𝘵𝘬𝘦𝘀 road to the final card after Sevilla's pounding of Manchester United? That's an outrageous card for 63k. But yeah, it is 𝘵𝗵𝗏.
Well, also because if they get to the final, he gets 5-star week fit, is that right?
I think so, yeah, which is massive for him because he's 4-3.
Yeah.
I thought it was 6-4. It's a lot shorter than I thought.
Just terrible. The dad jokes have started already.
Hey.
It's funny, I immediately thought the reference to Giroud's 6-star skills, which, if people want to search for him and skills, they'll see what I mean, I think.
Oh, but before we get into this, can I just interject, please? Because I had a debate on the stream, a lengthy debate where I got a lot more invested than I should have done. Is Giroud world class?
Giroud?
Yeah.
Well, he's definitely a scorer of world-class goals.
He's won the World Cup. He's won lots of leagues. He's national top scorer.
Hasn't he won the Champions League as well?
Yeah, he has indeed, and also won the Champions League with Chelsea. Like, I don't know how you could ever say he's not world class.
Yeah, although isn't John O'Shea only missing the World Cup or something like that?
Yeah, I was on that stream debating in the comments. For me, I think you struggle to name 25 genuinely better strikers over the course of his career.
Whoa, time. 25 is the threshold for world class now?
I think over a decade-long career, I think to be world class, you've got to be in the top 10 in your position for a period of for a season or two in your career. And I think there's been several points in his career where he's been top 10, which sounds mental, but I want you to go through his career and you will really struggle to find 10 better strikers than him, which maybe means that my barrier for world class is a little bit too low. I think he has a world-class career and does score world-class goals, and his highlight reel will be better than pretty much anyone else's highlight. I don't think anyone else will have a highlight reel like it. So Messi and then Giroud. I think that's the that's where
Does Messi have a 𝘵𝘃𝗏 award though? I don't think he does.
Doesn't he for his 𝘵𝘆𝗀𝘀 run when he was 19?
Oh yeah, do you know what? Actually, he might. Yeah,
he replicated Maradona.
Hold on, let's answer this question in a FIFA way. Does world class mean that they get a hero or icon card?
Yeah, I would say so. But then again, icon, yes. Hero, maybe not.
So they don't have to be world class to get a hero card?
I wouldn't say so, no. I think the heroes is more geared towards fan favorites.
Okay, so world class players would get an icon card. Over the span, if their career's over the span of a decade, and you'd say they were world class for a decade, if that's true, they would probably be in line for an icon card.
Yeah.
Does Giroud get an icon card?
100%.
No way. No way.
I think he deserve one along the likes of John Barnes. If you look at career-wise, Barnes has an icon card.
Oh, I forgot John Barnes is an icon. I forgot he's an icon.
Yeah.
I think when I look at icons of the game, though, they're players that in some ways have redefined, maybe not redefined, but defined that position at some point in their career. And I don't know if Giroud was ever a defining striker.
Yeah, he probably hasn't been, yeah.
But I do think that he is, which is impossible to classify, but he's a proven winner and big game player. And I think in sports, that goes incredibly long way, because there are certain players that just seem to know how to get the job done. I think Giroud has proved over the course of his career, he is absolutely one of those. But I don't know if he's a truly defining striker during his time.
Yeah.
He has a absolute world-class resume but I don't know if you'd say he's a world-class player.
And that was my biggest hang-up, is like, how can somebody have achieved everything he's achieved, including individual awards, team awards, national awards, winning the biggest competition in the world, and then still not be considered world-class? It just, I get the argument for it, but it also doesn't make sense.
To be fair, I would say if you're categorizing forwards in different ways, rather than just like every striker is judged on the number of goals they've scored, if we're looking instead at best target men, link up play type forwards, he is world class in terms of there being few, if any, better than him over that period. Maybe.
I mean, let's do this. Would you call 𝘵𝘃𝗲𝗀𝘀𝘁 a world class right back?
I suppose if we're doing that top 10, over a period of time, yeah, he probably has been a top 10 right back in the world for a period of time.
That's probably fair. I mean, he had like I guess my like thought process, maybe he's like not the one to like go through that, is there are probably some players that have been hanging out at Real Madrid over the past decade.
Yeah, Nacho is one of the guys that came
Nacho,
up.
Exactly.
Where it's he's not really world class. And that is difficult even for 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝘀, because he's just, I suppose, like Giroud, right? He's just been consistently very good, but not particularly outstanding.
Yeah, he wasn't like position defining like Dani Alves seemed to be during his run with Barca. I don't know. These are fun debates. I know Ben wants to move on, but
no, it's a good debate. It's funny because the reason that came up was, I think, because Nep misheard me saying Giroud as in Johan Giroud.
Oh, you didn't say Giroud?
I didn't even say Giroud, I don't think. No, I think I said Giroud.
Well, Johan Giroud definitely was world class. Some of the own goals he's scored, you have to be a special level for that.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you look at the skill, genuinely different class, have a Google. And actually after that, you could Google support for weekly, because there's a 36,000 FIFA point giveaway going on the Patreon. A quick plug for that. But yeah, let's get into talking about current content. Tammy Abraham, just clear pound for pound powerhouse winner. Lengthy, even with engine. He's got room for upgrades because he's a road to the final, potential to get the 5-star weak foot, another upgrade, and 5-star skills. Should stay lengthy throughout that as well, even with an engine, which is great. I used him in champs and he got 60 goals in 30 games through champs and playoffs, and got 18 assists, which is, ridiculous. I think the only other important bits of content I guess we've seen are the two showdowns, Ben White for Arsenal and Gundogan for City, both extremely expensive, to be honest. But I guess, Nep, you'd probably be doing Ben White anyway, right?
I will be, but they are priced, unless they get 5-star on like a +4 or something. Even then, I don't understand, man. 800,000 coins for that Gundogan. It's with team of the season literally this week. It's a ludicrous price. It's probably the worst valued SBC of all time.
Well, so actually, it reminded me, I feel like, was it 2 years ago, maybe, that Gundogan had a team of the year SBC that was also stupid overpriced at the time. Like, I don't know if Gundogan has ever had an SBC that was reasonably priced.
I know it's a different league, but there's a live card, the road to the final, Barella. Now he's 3-star, which for a lot of people will be more than enough to make up that 400k difference. But he's just a better card in terms of his stats. And he's still got the potential to get upgraded. If Inter beat Milan in the semis, he gets the 5-star weak foot upgrade as well. And if you look at his dribbling's way better, his stamina's much better. He can actually defend compared to Gundogan. It's a Premier League tax plus the pricing of it as if it's already upgraded on a showdown. It's like a classic EA pricing of an SBC.
Well, it is interesting. The price of this did get me very intrigued, and I went away and did a bit of nerdy stats research to work out how they got there. And if you bear with me for a sec, what I did was just set some thresholds below Gundogan's stats to see midfielders who are over 4-star weak foot. And if you set 85 and above reactions, 80 and above aggression, 80 and above finishing, 90 and above short passing, 85 and above defensive awareness, and 83 and above pace. As I said, bear in mind he's a fair bit higher on some of these, like he's 85 pace, for example. Then the midfielders you get are Team of the Year De Bruyne, Team of the Year Bellingham, 2 versions of Lothar, Trophy Titans Vieira, Fantasy Foot Marcus Llorente, and Fantasy Foot Park Jae-sung, the only two who are above 1.5 million coins. And Llorente's 700k, Park's 550, but is considerably worse, or not considerably worse, but a fair bit worse on the stats, to be honest, and isn't 4-star skills. So it's definitely high, but it's not like crazy, I wouldn't say.
Like 450, I think you would have been saying to yourself, like,
I completely
for
disagree.
City Links.
The team of the season, Premier League being next Friday.
Who are going to be the team of the season midfielders?
Probably like 𝘭𝘪𝘬𝘦, Thomas Partey, those kind of players. All the Arsenal players, basically.
KDB gets in?
Yeah, I think KDB gets in. I think Rodri gets in. I would definitely take Rodri over Gundogan.
Yeah, but then he's a defensive midfielder. They tend to be a bit cheaper, I'd say, and the true box-to-box players, I feel like they have a bit of a premium, maybe.
Yeah, potentially that as well. But this is where I think, I bet if they're trying to get coins off the market, more people would have completed this and they would have got overall more coins and cards off the market if he was way more affordable.
Mm.
The other side to it is it's a showdown, which means it has a really short lead-in time for you to complete the SBC. If this went for a month and was deep into team of the season, you could justify like a 500,000 price point, because that'll come down to about 300k and you'll have so much fodder that you can just throw into it if you really need to do it anyway. But to give you like 4 days to complete a 700, 800k SBC in a week that seems to be geared towards save packs for team of the season, it just feels a bit like odd and off.
Even the Ben White card, Ben White's 90 rated card, which probably isn't going to get upgraded, is 10 times the price of his 87 rated card with a negligible upgrade.
Yeah. Why is Tammy Abraham so much cheaper when the potential as a player is so much higher than those two, I would say?
It's England and it's the league.
Yeah.
Like being English in Serie A at Roma, it's like chemistry is a challenge.
It is a challenge. Right, but obviously, just an English manager gives him at least the +1. But this has always been my debate for at least like the last 4 or 5 years at this stage of the game cycle, is if that Tammy Abraham got the current in-game stats after a boost of full chemistry, you'd be like, what a card. So why wouldn't you just play with him with just those in-game stats with no chemistry?
Yeah, I can see that for Tammy, right? But for someone like Ben White, surely he's not going to win.
Well, I think at this stage in FIFA, Ben White because of the pace, but I think, when you're talking about forwards and maybe midfielders where it's like they can, like all that 𝘭𝘪𝘀𝘀 93 rated card, it's like that card's so good, you don't need chemistry. He's already insane in the right areas.
Yeah, it's actually a good point on Tammy's stats being just that good. Yeah,
I also think that comparison thing of what we were doing with Gundogan and going look at Ji-sung Park and what his price is at. If you go to like Diogo Jota Fantasy Foot, now it's Portuguese, which you could argue is an easier nation to link, better icons from Portugal, all that kind of stuff. Who's going to have a 𝘬𝘯𝘴𝘆? Quite a few people from what I play against.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah, he's the same rating. He's in the Premier League. He plays for Liverpool, who've got much easier links than Roma. And he's 210k for a fairly similar card that has 5-star weak foot. Now, he's not 6'5" and he's not lengthy, but if you're looking for that comparison price-wise, those two are similar prices. So you can kind of justify the price of Abraham being what it is, whereas with Gundogan, it is difficult to find a like for like within a league or with better links for kind of much cheaper. You've got that Park, but I don't know if he's necessarily better.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's you can make arguments either way for it, but I do think SBCs this year, we've seen an acceleration in the price of them because the drive towards untradeable has been so hard that it's like everyone should have untradeable fodder because we're going to giving you all of these, packs from objectives. We're giving you untradeable rewards from rivals. We're giving you loads of SBCs just with untradeable rewards. Everything's untradeable now. And so when you look at the coin value of an SBC, it's kind of no one's going, well, I've got 800,000 coins. Let me put it into this SBC.
Yeah, that's true.
Everyone's using stuff they've got in the club. And so maybe the way that we look at the prices of SBCs needs to change.
Yeah, and wouldn't that be nice if there was a way to like monitor how much fodder you've been is easily accumulative over the last 7 days versus the price points or the team expectations of SBCs? Because it could be like, oh my god, like an 88 rated squad, but then it could be like, oh, by the way, you've got like Lampard and that Bergkamp, where you've got loads of cards in there. You've got like 87x4s for completing the I can't remember what's called, the friendlies objective. Like it might be a case of like, well, actually, if you just played the game, you just complete this irrelevant of the price in terms of coins. But that only works, in my personal opinion, if there is just, like with there is consumables, just let me stack players, man. Like stop forcing me to use these 83s, 84s, and 85s in SBCs I don't want, because you can't like arrange a duplicate storage system.
That is true. Like I feel like myself, I don't know other people are doing this, but I've started discarding like 84s quite frequently, just because otherwise you feel forced into doing SBCs, which just end up costing you more, or you didn't really want to do. So I think, that is a major issue. And it just feels so bad, like discarding any players. And I wish they'd do something about that. Actually, the point you made about the number of packs available, and also it's just worth saying, like, we're saying the price of the SBC, obviously, but realistically, as Josh was saying, nobody spends the actual coins, and fodder is easier to generate. I feel like Gundogan's a bit of a weird one because he expires well before Team of the Season, but any players that are out during Team of the Season as SBCs are going to be relatively cheap to complete, and it feels like a lot of the longer range SBCs are kind of set up like that. But I was actually going to ask you, Nep, the switch to untradables this cycle, it feels fairly obvious that there has been a switch towards that. How do you feel about that from your perspective? Is it a good thing? Is it fun? I don't know.
I think again, obviously I've always typically had untradables since they've been in the game, since SBC has been in the game, because I've run Road to Glories and whatnot. But I do think that if they just had a better system to stock your untradables, I would care way less about everything gearing towards being untradeable. I think one of the positives that's come from it is we're getting way more gameplay related objectives, which I think is a genuine good thing. And I think I wish I was still doing a Road to Glory now, and I ended up stopping it just after the World Cup content, because the World Cup content was so bad. I was like, it's just, what's the point of doing a Road to Glory? This gameplay is awful. This game is awful. But now looking at it, it's like, man, imagine, like, you could actually have lots of fun with a Road to Glory, because there is so much to play for. There's so many cool cards out there, and there's almost no pressure for champs or rivals, because you hinder yourself massively if you play rivals, and champs is like casual. It's probably the most casual game mode. The thing that I really hate, and I know it's a test for next year, and I know that we as a community, as a collective, have failed to test massively, but spending coins or FIFA points on untradable packs is probably the stupidest thing that you can do, unless you absolutely know exactly what you're getting from that pack.
I don't know if I fully agree with that.
Well, go on.
For me, if I like play, I don't know, champs and rivals, and say I want to take coins, if there's a pack in the store that's, I don't know, called 400K, and it has a icon included in it, guaranteed. If I want to say, like, for those folks that are taking tradable packs, like especially, and selling them, and they don't have stuff in their club, like, if I, rather than going out and purchasing all of these cards on the market, if I can go and in one button press play icon roulette, like, dude, I'm here for that.
I get it, like, in terms of ease, I suppose, Japes. It's easier to just be like, let me buy a pack where I know I'm going to get an icon, instead of open loads of 150 FIFA point packs, sell everything, and then buy an icon. I do get that. I just think it's a slippery slope for where we're going. And on the whole, like, generating coins thing, Josh and I talked about this like a couple of months ago at this stage, about like how I actually think it's incredibly easy to generate coins. And so I went and got that 99 loan team that was an objective a couple of weeks ago, and I've just finished playing the 99 games out and all I played was champs qualifiers, and rivals one time to get the points to play it, and I'm going to have about 900,000 coins at the end of it.
Oof, that's crazy. So what's the finish you've been getting in champs with that team?
I was stopping at 9 or 6 wins just to try and like elongate the number of times I could do it. But it's like the point is, like, the team's terrible, but it's like you don't need insane teams or all these insane players, and you don't need to continually do these SBCs that then, you know, you play 3 games with and sit in your club, and you can afford the best players in the game. Because I haven't run the account efficiently. I haven't done all the other things that could have got me a lot more coins and whatnot. But just by playing the key modes, the core modes in the game over like 4 or 5 weeks, that's what I've generated. And that, it doesn't include rivals and stuff like for more rewards and whatnot. And it's with a 99 game loan team. And it's like, yeah, you like, okay, it might take you the whole year to be able to get that R9, but you can do it.
I'm glad you mentioned that actually, because it's a point I've made on the podcast over the years and talked about in terms of my approach to the cycle. And last cycle I did more trading. This cycle I haven't really done much at all. And that's been interesting because it's really demonstrated the amount of coins you can rack up without doing that. Even without the more recent inform investing I've done, I would have reached a total just going tradable rewards, just selling everything basically, and only using untradables for SBCs and things. I have got 6 or 7 million coins.
Yeah.
And once I've sold the informs, it'll be 8 or more.
And then when team of the season comes around, you'll be able to buy anyone you want.
You'd hope so.
How cool is that? Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's the case study for taking tradable stuff, though, right there.
Yeah, and you do, of course, occasionally hit something big tradable, right? I mean, it doesn't happen very often, maybe once a cycle at best, but if you do it enough, I got road to the final for 𝘵𝘂 this year. By the time I actually sold him, it was 800k, but still quite a valuable play. Money goes back into the pot.
Or like there's an 800k gundogan on SBC and I've got no fodder, so I'll just go and buy it all. Yeah.
Well, actually, I think you buy Park, don't you? And you sell them when the time comes and you haven't lost so much and you've kept your tradable value. And you need to avoid, though, Japes, things like those big coin packs, right?
Yeah, Ben, that's not reasonable.
Well, talking about it being unreasonable, I've kind of thought maybe it is a bit unreasonable because the amount of time you got to put in playing the game for the tradable rewards and then the ability to get to that kind of level in champs, and then also, I guess, being kind of disciplined about it. But maybe it isn't that unreasonable for people to do this more casually.
Yeah, I don't think it is. It depends on your it depends on what you like. Yeah, if you want to grind the living daylights out of everything that comes in the game, you'd have even more coins and loads of fodder. If you want to play casually, you absolutely can. Like I say, like 20 games of champs to get 6 or 9 wins. You can throw like 10 games and go from there. It's a couple of hours a week and maybe an hour or two for qualifiers. And I've on purpose not used players that I've collected accidentally that would improve my team and improve my experience, just to prove that with this 199 lone game team, I can still achieve something good. So yeah. I don't think it's that much of a time commitment. I think one of the reasons why Road to Glory kind of became so popular throughout the years, I don't really know why it died this year though, is that people just mismanage their clubs massively, and it causes everyone to be in this you get that fear of missing out, like, oh, new icon SBC, I really have to do it. I'm going to sell the best player in my team to fund it and get rid of some fodder that I might have had fun with, and then you open the icon pack and you get like Michael Owen base card or something, and you're just deflated and devastated, but you go and do it all again, That's what you have done, isn't it?
Man, I did that. I did this icon pack twice. The most recent one. First one pulled Prime Cafu.
Nice.
So I'm stoked about that. I'm like, you know what? We're going to do one more. And which is always just the wrong decision. And I've packed for the second time this cycle now, 90 rated Prime 𝘃𝘃.
Nice.
Oh man, that is one of the worst. Yeah,
I got 𝘵𝘃𝘀𝘀 𝗵𝘀𝘀 out of mine and called it a day there. Yeah,
that's really good.
Yeah, it was.
Damn.
Just real quick, to get 𝘃𝘃𝘃 twice, and I'm talking, I think it's 𝘃𝘃𝘃, the 90 rated Italian striker, who is not very fun to play with, because I've tried to force the issue with him the first time I packed him. It's just not that fun. The statistical probability of that is insanely low. And I know I am not the only one out there where you get the exact same card again.
Not this year, but last year, I got 𝘵𝘃𝗃𝗃 in 3 consecutive icon packs, the same one. And I got David Beckham's Prime 5 times.
Whoa. Statistically,
that's mad.
Almost impossible.
Yeah.
Almost bordering on impossible.
So,
and so that's EA just changed the back end algorithm very, very quickly to recognize that if you've packed a specific card before, in one of these icon roulette ones, you just won't pack it again.
Yeah, that's a nice idea actually, because there's enough of a pool that it wouldn't stop you packing a dud, right? So it can't be that bad for them.
and wouldn't that incentivize people again more that might be sitting there looking at their
100%.
team going, I've already got all the mid and low end icons. Now I'm definitely doing it because this Cruyff is on its way or this Ronaldo is on its way.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah.
It's hope hope and like belief that it can happen to you is what sells packs. And all you're doing is ratcheting those levels up.
Yeah.
And just two things on that. Firstly, it's something that's been in eFootball or back when it was PES for a long time, is the concept of clearing. They used to call them collection boxes. If you cleared a collection box, you guaranteed every player in that box, regardless of who it was. And secondly, I have seen rumors that for EA Sports FC, the pack weight is going to be dynamic. The more packs you open, your odds are going to get better if you don't pack something big, which would lend itself to an idea of clearing out a pool of players and not packing a duplicate.
Okay, it'd be interesting to see how they handle that kind of thing if they do it. On this topic, actually, in my 90 plus Prime, whatever it is, pack, I did get Prime, best version in the database, 𝘰𝘬𝘦. And he's not going to make it to my team.
That's still just wild to me.
It is just crazy. I mean, he's one of the better forwards technically, if not for goal scoring and just all-round influence of the Premier League era. And yet he has 66 balance and 86 composure on his best version in the game. Even beyond the fact that obviously, he should really have some additional special items on top of that. I feel like Nep, even with your Arsenal bias aside, maybe most disrespected icon?
Oh, he 100% is. Wasn't he partnered with PES?
Oh, was that why? I didn't pick that up, actually. Maybe that is why.
I tend to think that EA, like if they're not like exclusive EA partner icons or, haven't gone out and partnered with another game, I tend to think that they just don't really give them much. Like you can pick up a handful of icons and just be like, why have they either got nothing or maybe one card? But maybe not. I might be wrong. It might just be that they just hate 𝘰𝘬𝘀𝘀 or something. Like
overrated.
Maybe there's a lot of Irish people working for EA.
A lot of Irish people. They do have an Irish office. To be fair,
let's go back to that world class discussion here.
Would you take 𝘰𝘬𝘀𝘀 or Giroud?
And I guarantee you, by the end of this game, Giroud will have a better card.
It'll have more than 66 balance. I guarantee you.
Well, I mean, Giroud's World Cup stories already has 80 balance.
It's ludicrous.
Anyway, we should probably get back to what we were talking about a long while ago now, which is the pound-for-pound powerhouse of the cycle so far, the best value player. There'll be a poll for the winner over on the FUT Weekly Podcast Twitter, @FUTWeeklyPod, so do go and vote. We start with the least regular guest, which would be you, Nep. So who would you nominate as your best value pound-for-pound powerhouse of the cycle so far? And they can be an objective player, an SBC player, from anywhere basically.
I actually have like a whole bunch.
Go for it, far away.
The first ones are like more of the collective, and it is every single player that has the dynamic image of them holding the World Cup for Argentina. They were all insane. That Enzo Fernandez, that Acuna card, the Di Maria card, the McAllister, like just as a collective, it like I think.
Oh yeah, Di Maria is value.
Yeah, though everyone went wild when those dynamics came out, And for me, that Acuna card and the Enzo were probably like two of my all-time favorites. So I really like those. I think outside of that, Patrick Vieira, obviously, like an icon as powerful as him in swaps, I never thought we'd see the day, but there he was. And that Gareth Bale that I talked about earlier is definitely up there. But for me, for me personally, again, like the pound for pound best card that you got in this game, I think was that winter wildcard Kieran Trippier. Like for just 2 tokens, he was unreal. And his power shots were unreal as well. Before people like really exposed the meta, he's got 89 shot power. So popping the ball up from 40 yards and hitting a banger with him, it was just, it was really good for that time of the game.
That's a really good shout. I didn't even think about him. And Di Maria is someone actually that a listener did mention, so I'll give the rundown from Maka here, saying that he had that unique body type, plenty of good links with all the Juve content. Hunter meant max pace, 90 plus on all shooting stats, agility, dribbling, ball control, composure, vision, crossing, curve, all 90 plus, even reactions were 89. This came out 4.5 months ago, 2.5 months into the cycle, for around 100k, basically the same face stats as the recent Pires SBC, which was 7 times the price months later. Almost felt like a mistake at the time. And yeah, it felt like they were being extra generous because it was the World Cup and they wanted to generate hype around it. He was so good for me as well for quite some time. But yeah, let's move on to you, Josh. Who would you go for your pound for pound of the cycle?
So I want to take you back before Harry Kane blazed his penalty over against France and before we had patches in the game, and back when FIFA 23 was new, the halcyon days of discovering 𝘬𝘬𝘦 was a thing. And there was a centre-back that everybody used because he was this year's Kimpembe. And that was Ronald Araujo from Barcelona. His 83 gold centre-back from early in the game was unbelievable and was the most annoying player to come up against. And he started off a bit expensive, as all of those kind of overpowered centre-backs do. But he dropped to like 1,000 coins almost immediately and is genuinely like he was viable for at least like 2 or 3 months in the game. And then we started getting like a little bit of a shift upwards once we hit the World Cup. But his gold card was unbelievable. I do want to like a little shout out to that road to the knockouts Bennacer, who was like a 25k SBC and ended up at like 87 rated. And when his Foot Fantasy came out just a few weeks ago, it was 1 rating higher than that 87 and only a little bit better. And yeah, that Bennacer was an amazing card, even like through the World Cup into sort of January time. So they would be my two. But Araujo is my first one just because he caused some nightmares early days.
Yeah. That's a good throwback. And 𝗏𝘗𝑝s, what about yourself?
This is gonna, I don't know what kind of take this is. Look, there's one player that I am so sick of playing against and absolutely redefined the position for anybody who wanted to win games of FIFA. And that is that Sergio Ramos card, the flashback.
Yep.
And like, I know the card's expensive and I know like pound for pound, but that, if you look at like pound for pound in some ways, is like you put the coins in and how long that player, you're going to get like meaningful time out of that player. I don't know if there's been an SBC that's been to that level. Like he completely defined that position, and that is value. And it pains me to say it. I didn't do him because I have feelings about PSG in general. You know, it's no secret there. So I like never completed that card. Do I regret it? I don't regret it because he would be in my team right now because he is seemingly that good that even if you are not a fan, what he does for you in FIFA is like such a high level that it's hard to ignore. So he is probably my pound for pound of the cycle, as much as it pains me to say it.
I feel like people accept that he's like the second best centre back in the game, basically, after Team of the Year Virgil. Is that right? Would anyone disagree? I mean, 𝘭𝘪𝘬𝘏 for me would obviously be up there, but I don't think I've seen many people offer anyone else.
Yeah, but if you've got Ramos and you have Team of the Year Virgil and you have Ramos, like, are you going to go out and do Carlos Alberto?
Yeah, probably not in that situation, but
probably not. And think about when this Carlos Alberto card came out.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah,
not to mention the links to freaking Mbappe.
Yeah.
That card still makes me feel ill.
Yeah. He was nominated as well by a listener, so I should mention that. Make ballet mentioning him, and I think that wraps up the guest nominations here. But in terms of other players that listeners mentioned, road to the final Diaby was mentioned a lot, and I mean, yeah, he was under 100k. Alex here saying take a look at his stats with Deadeye, and in my opinion, he's a runaway winner, especially now he's got finesse, outside foot shots, and if Leverkusen advance, he gets the 5-star weak foot. He's one of the best attackers in the game at that point, I reckon. Plenty of positional flexibility with French links too, and he was ridiculously good value, and someone I see now, all the time still, and may continue to do so.
Every year there is a road to the final card that like pops up that is insane value, and people are like, man,
yep.
That card was like epic value. And this is why EA, if you're listening, every club needs road to the final cards.
Yep.
Also, shout out to 𝘵𝘃𝗍𝗶 Alonso, last Bundesliga team left standing in Europe, and brought Leverkusen from being in relegation when he took over to 6th in the league, still in Europe, and well on their way. Childhood best friend of Mikel Arteta. There's your fun fact.
Rumored to be the next West Ham manager as well. What a come down that'd be.
Yeah. Just give him the Chelsea job. Just give him the Chelsea job.
He's actually also someone who got quite a few mentions for pound powerhouse. That team of the year icon, pretty popular. Not someone I've used, but yeah, it can be a pain to play against. Yeah. Staying in the midfield, Splashies was mentioning 𝘃ephron Thuram. SBC came in at 170k and he's played over 600 games for me. Really feel like I got Patrick Vieira for 170k with better dribbling and possibly better distribution from a holding mid. He plays just like him, and I've tried the prime Vieira as well. He's an unreal card and I can't wait to try his team of the season. And actually, that segues us nicely onto team of the season, which we can do a little bit of a preview chat about. We're going to have community team of the season on Friday, and then the following week will be Premier League team of the season. If you want predictions and a rundown of what's going on, then you can go to foot.gg/TOTS. And yeah, just interested to hear thoughts on what people are hoping for, what people are expecting. Josh, let's come to you first. Any particular things that you're thinking about around team of the season at the moment?
What I'm hoping for team of the season is that in the first week where they have the opportunity to kind of like lead into the rest of team of the season, they kind of let us know what's going to happen. And what I want to happen is every week for each of the major leagues and the minor league that's been released, there's going to be a friendly that is like 3-minute halves or golden goal or whatever. And it's a first owner team from that league. And you can just do it repeatedly to get packs. It can be a 7.5k pack. I really don't care. Just something in game that you can go in, have some fun. If you get a player from that league, or if you get a pack of team of the season player, you can go, I'll take it into that, and we can run that. Because released the kind of upgrade SBCs yesterday that are decent to grind and mix them with league SBCs, and they're going to be there for the whole of team of the season. That's great for the menus. I want something similar in gameplay that gives me at least some solace that I have 195,086 rated special cards in my club from all the different leagues, and I've never played a game with them. Like, give me somewhere to use them. That's all I want.
Yeah, that's a good point. We've got the one league friendly at the moment, which seems like it might be something they use throughout. So I guess that's worth thinking about if you're completing players or, you know, picking up specific items. It might be worthwhile working on a specific league, I guess. Nep, what about you? Any particular hopes, dreams, or, you know, concerns around team of the season?
I've really enjoyed the gameplay content recently, but I do agree with what Josh says there in that, like, there's you know, actually I think something either you or 𝗫𝗍𝗃 said earlier is like, they, you know, you've got this insane player or an icon or whatever, and they just won't get into your team, and I think that's stupid. Like, you know, before even for swaps, it used to be a Portuguese league and a French league or a French team. And it's like, okay, it gave you that reason to be like, all these players have been hoarding this year. I can finally use them. So hopefully they do something gameplay related that is repeatable, because I think that would be a massive win. I don't know why they would want us to only stay in the menus. Well, I kind of do, because in the menus you can go to the store, and in the game you can't. But I you know, it would be nice to have that. But somebody in my stream the other day was like, they're just engagement farming with the way they limit how much you can do certain things in certain areas. You know, like even that Trophy Titans thing, 7 upgrades per day. You know why? Because it was actually efficient. Like they dare not give you something that you can grind at your leisure. And that worries me a little bit for the biggest or, you know, maybe not the biggest promo these days, but one of the biggest, you know, one of the marquee promos of the game cycle. It worries me that, and we've already got it with the daily login, it worries me that it'll be like, oh yeah, there'll be a really cool team of the season event where like the end reward for playing, you know, getting 20 wins in the team of the season cup is a 5 team of the season player pack, but you get 3 games per day. And it's like, they just need to not do that. And I think people will be elated. And we're so deep into the game cycle now with rumors of EAFC being released in August this year. Like, there's effectively like 4 months of this game left. Like, just let people have fun now. Stop stopping people from playing your game at their leisure, and just let them go. That would be my hopes and dreams for team of the season content.
Yeah, I agree. Because it kind of, I don't know, with the content that's been flying around anyway, people's teams are pretty strong, so they've got to allow for a bit of freedom and a bit of not holding on to the power curve so much like they did after Team of the Year. I think they've started to release things a bit, but yeah, it should be interesting to see how they kind of play.
This has been the most bizarre power curve of any FIFA cycle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. Anything from you, Japes?
I'll like take it from like a higher level standpoint. There's going to be a major letdown with team of the season if you don't see skill move and weak foot upgrades on par with what we've been seeing. And I hope that there is, I would love to see at least one SBC card for each league that has like pretty significant upgrades in those areas that at least make, like, I just want to think to myself, like, yeah, this card could get into my team if I wanted to use this league. Because if you have like a bunch of cards like that, I don't mind if we're going to, like, if for a week I see the exact same Premier League card in everybody's team, because I've been playing against 𝘵𝘆𝘀𝘀 and Ramos for ages now. So anything will feel a little spicier than that. And so I just hope that they take that into consideration and give players at least a 1-star boost to their lowest. So if they're like 4-star skills, 3-star weak foot, just make them 4-star, 4-star.
Yeah,
just boost it a little bit, and so that you start to see these people just have to think like, nah, that's a better upgrade. I think it'll help a lot.
Yeah, the skill move weak foot point is a very good one. I think we got to see some. We did see some last year, but it'd be nice to see a little bit more, I think.
But like rarely. You saw so many cards that were still like 3-star, 3-star. And it was like, once you've introduced the idea of like 5-star, 5-star heavily, or 4-star, these upgrades heavily, that is what becomes the curve. And that is what people are going to want to see. And you can't go backwards on that.
Yeah.
Because you're using those players, then you put yourself at a competitive disadvantage. And for people wanting to have fun and like play the game, just give them the upgrades.
Yeah, I hope we see some team of the season icon and hero content, because that's been really fun. And if we see it alongside
I hope so too.
Each team, that would be great. Like, for each league, get a relevant player in as a team of the season icon version.
Give me my 𝘬𝘬𝘦. Give me 𝘬𝘬𝘬.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
I still use his World Cup card, Ben.
Or like a 𝘵𝘰𝑬𝑺 or something.
Hey.
Just as an extra point as well, they've now, if you check in game, champs will start at 8 p.m. on Friday. So they've moved champs to be in line with team of the season again, like they did last year.
So it'll probably be extended a bit longer as well.
Yeah, I would assume so, into Tuesday probably. It'll be similar to last year, which I think a lot of people preferred, having those extra few days.
Yeah, and it's looking like we'll be going back to team of the season red picks, which is good, including main league team of the season red picks at 11 wins or above, and then a team of the season tradable packs at 14 wins and above, which should be good. And actually, if you fancy brushing up on your gameplay tips in order to reach that next rank, then this week's gameplay podcast will help. And next week's, this week's gameplay podcast, though, is a supporter exclusive episode, because this content podcast is on the main feed. And actually, if you fancy becoming a supporter, it's a really good time to do so, because there is a 36,000 FIFA point giveaway going on the Patreon, and it's just £3 a month to support. So if you've been considering it, or even if you haven't, but you want to sign up, then do search Support Foot Weekly. You're keeping the podcast going, and you'll be getting loads in return too. You can do that just by searching Support Foot Weekly, or follow the link in the description, or go directly to bit.ly/TOTS23. So that's bit.ly/TOTS in caps 23. Before we wrap up quickly, Josh, thoughts on the recent upgrades, because they could be a nice way of getting some packs in for team of the season as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. They've released the bronze and silver upgrades, and they've called them prime bronze or silver upgrades, compared to they were just bronze upgrade and silver upgrade. And you now essentially you can get 1 gold card for every 4 bronze cards that you put into the first segment. So if you do, if you like doing a bit of bronze pack method, especially combining it with the new league SBCs, that although the rewards aren't quite as good in terms of like the quality of some of them, you get more players back than you did in the old league SBCs, which makes the whole thing kind of a little bit more efficient in terms of you're getting more cards out than you're putting in. And so you'll always be sort of building the number of cards in your club. You can put them back into the silver upgrades or the bronze upgrades, depending on what they are. And you've also got the trophy crafting upgrade if you want to. You've got the 83 plus upgrade that's repeatable. You've got, if you want to go for the league specific ones, I think the league specific upgrades are massively overvalued right about now. But you can absolutely save like end packs from the league SBCs and be super efficient with it. If you don't want to do bronze packs, you can just go kind of straight into the league SBCs. You're going to lose a few coins. You're probably going to lose coins like overall, but the pack value you'll get back will be way, way higher. And it's well worth doing, I think. And as we get into TOTS with so many packs being opened, the price of some of the more expensive sections will keep coming down. So definitely something to have a dabble in. And yeah, it'll be on Nep's second channel. So Nepenthez 2. The how to grind the league SBCs.
Nice. Good to know. And we'll say our goodbye. So Nep, been fantastic to have you back on the podcast. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a great chat.
Yeah, has indeed. And thank you very much as well to Josh. As always, been great to have you on this content podcast.
Yeah, it's been good. It's we'll be talking about the blues we've packed next week. So I'm just excited for it.
Yeah, and to Japes as well. Thank you very much for coming on the pod. As always, we'll catch you on this week's supporter gameplay episode.
Cheers, Ben. Hopefully we'll grab some blues this week, though. I'm not going to hold my breath for that. Yeah. But be excited to talk about it next week anyway.
Indeed. And if you'd like a little help along the way, whether it's gameplay advice or those 36,000 FIFA points being given away, then head over to the Patreon, enter that giveaway if you are a supporter, or if you aren't, then perhaps consider it. As I said, just £3 a month. You can go to bit.ly/TOTS23 or follow the link in the description, or you can just search Support for Weekly. Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. And if you would like to subscribe, you can do so via all the various podcast platforms and, of course, on YouTube, where you can leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe. It definitely helps. If you are a supporter, a huge thank you for supporting this podcast and making it possible. And a big thank you too to those icon patrons: Dave B, 𝘬𝘃𝗍𝘬𝘦, Coach 𝘵𝘂, DJ FIFA Player, Alan G, Alistair, Anthony R, Dominic P, Rob P, Jeff B, Stephen F, Tom B, Damon H, David S, Nick Jack M, Eric T, Neil P, Adam G, Dan W, Waterman, N Hagman, Harry A, Jake G, Roger D, Springford, Alec, Bracco, Nishant, Harry P, Alex M, Lee A, Brendan W, Andrew C, Joe W, Timothy J, Dylan, J Kell, Ibis24, Adam R, Sam K, Graham W, Andy, Ads H2K, and Brian V. Plus a special thanks to Luke M, Dave B, Hugh J, Tom M, Darren W, and Pato Foot for advice and production assistance. Before I leave you, just one more thing to add, though. FIFA's a bit like life, really. It has its many ups and its many downs. If you're having a few more downs than ups in real life in these more difficult times, then please don't feel that you're alone or need to struggle on without taking action. If you go to thecalmzone.net, there's loads of resources, advice, support, or even just a friendly chat for anyone who needs it. If it sounds like it could help you, then head over to thecalmzone.net. And for now, have a good one, and I'll catch you on the next podcast.